Uh, Hello and welcome once again. Today I have with me a special guest, and he's no other than Mr. Oral Ofori. And
Thank you.
I've known you for a while, and I think
We shouldn't be doing this, right?
no, we should, because I think there's a lot about you I do not necessarily know. I know a bit of your story, but today I want to capture bits and pieces of it on the camera as well.
Cool.
And I want to welcome you once again to my channel. And this has been in the works for a long time,
I know, right?
but it's good to finally have that.
Yeah.
How is your trip to Ghana so far? I know you're just passing through for the moment, but
Ghana has been good so far. This trip has me doing some work with the Loudoun County government. Loudoun County is in Virginia, United States. And I also will do something personal along the line and visit with friends, and somewhere along the line, get off my guard and be caught by you for an interview.
and yes, that's definitely why we're here. But I'm more interested in a bit of your journey all the way into how you became a media personality at this point in time, because you seem to have I don't want to call it derailed, but then taking a detour from what you originally began. So tell us a bit about your background, like your schooling days, your journey through high school, which we recently went to.
Yeah. So my high school is Chemu Secondary School, which is in Tema, Ghana, West Africa. I
like how
to be
you
very
have
specific.
that.
I graduated Chemu Secondary School, my senior high school, in 1998. So it's been 25 years ago. That's a quarter of a century. Don't try to guess my age, but yeah. And I've always loved to write. I've always loved to be inquisitive about how to discover things and share it with people through writing. And based on that, I worked with the Ghanaian Times, back then New Times Corporation, which is like one of the largest state media publishing entities for news. It's government run, obviously. And then I worked a little bit with my dad, Oral Ofori. He's a very up there photographer. He's covered events for FIFA, CAF, and all the top world soccer entities, including the UEFA, and you name it. He's been there, done that in the last almost 4 decades. And I ended up to study with the London School of Journalism, where I, got some more training and, refined my skills, and went to the Voice of America in Washington, D.C. in 2007. This was to pursue an internship, and what was supposed to be a 3-month internship ended up going for as long as almost a year and a half. And I, was offered a opportunity to stay longer at the Voice of America, and I took advantage of it, and I got exposed to some of the top media entities, and learning from some of the best in the trade. So that really helped me. Along the line, probably 10 years down the line, I started having this strong urge to tell the African story, because I felt like it was important. Not because I was from Africa, but because I feel like Africa is a continent that is not well explored when it comes to telling our own stories. And so I was trying to figure out how to do it. And it dawned on me that maybe I should establish a media entity. And so I did that. It's called The African Dream. It's basically about telling the African story from an African perspective, to enlighten not just non-Africans, but also to educate Africans as well in the process. And that has had me going through all phases of the media, from social media to traditional media to photography to videography to, it's been a great experience. And I say I have detoured into doing consultancy. The African Dream is also a communication and information research consultancy, and I do a lot of consulting, and it's I feel like consulting is great. It helps me tell the African story outside the media world as well. And it also exposes me to a huge and potentially highly positive world of network where I get to connect and meet with amazing people like yourself. And you have to stop me because I might not stop talking.
And I'm glad you are expanding on giving us like all that part information.
Right.
But I want us to step back and then go through it. Just talk briefly about the different parts of it. So one thing I like to ask is, are you 100% Ghanaian?
I'm 100% Ghanaian.
Good.
I was born and raised in
Here
Ghana.
in Ghana. Okay.
Like I said, I went to Chemu Secondary School. Before that, I went to a primary school in Tema, what we call the Saito.
Okay, so you basically grew up in Tema?
Yes, I grew up in Tema. I was born at the General Hospital in Tema. I lived in Community 8.
Which means you speak Ghana?
I didn't know Ghana.
I have no idea. I understand nothing in Ghana. But then, wow, that is interesting.
Yeah, I speak I speak Chi, I speak a little bit of Fanti.
Okay.
I speak the Pidgin, which is the lingua franca, especially for high schoolers and junior high schoolers. But I'm trying to perfect my English. It's not my language, so if I speak it not very well, then it's because I'm still learning.
Well, it's not the language of it's not a native language, so
right.
we try to speak it as best as we can.
Yeah.
So after schooling here, since you went to Chemu, you continued to a tertiary school here in Ghana, or you skipped that part and directly went to London?
So I tried the Ghana Institute of Journalism.
Okay.
However, I felt like getting more hands-on training,
practical skills.
Yes, because
in that regard.
I like the practical more because it exposes you a lot, and so my network started growing right from high school because I was working at the Ghanaian Times. I was just like barely 19, and I was covering these events in Ghana, sports events.
So you basically had the kind of connections and understanding of the field to an extent, and you wanted more of the practical aspect of it and do more of what you've already started doing.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so you had to pause on the journalism here in Ghana and then continue in the London School of Journalism.
And then do a chunk of it in the USA at the Voice of America. So I did it that backwards way.
How?
Like you go to journalism school to the fullest, you graduate, you do an internship, and then you start working. I started working in the journalism field for years.
Before thinking of
after high school,
and
I started working in the journalism field for years. And then
wanted to get some more knowledge in that regard.
And then that pushed me to the London School of Journalism. And so when I started my internship in the USA with the Voice of America in Washington D.C., it was pretty easy for me because it's my field. The only thing was that the environment was different. It's different compared to how it's practiced in Ghana or in the UK. So I had a lot to learn, and I really appreciate the opportunity I received to learn in the US. It really broadened my horizon, and it opened my mind up. Heck, I eventually decided to start my own business in the US. So, but Ghanaians and basically Africans are highly entrepreneurial. So I guess that was the
It's in the
entrepreneurial
blood.
spirit in me to want to start something on my own. So I'm glad that I followed through and where I'm at today. I feel like I'm still learning and I'm still looking for people to help me grow myself while I help them also grow their dreams and their businesses. So it's a never-ending story for me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you, moving from Ghana to, were there any challenges you noticed before then? Were you in a position to go outside there and have the exposure, or that change in environment was a learning experience? I can talk of mine because the first time I traveled outside, it was a whole cultural change for me in terms of trying to understand my environment and the people and the food, everything.
Right. So lucky for me, my dad is well traveled globally. He's well traveled, and so he gave a lot of tips and advice, and that really helped me. So
before you even step foot there, you had a fair idea of what to expect.
I had I wouldn't call it an expectation because that was the one thing I was told not to have.
Which is very true because I have had certain expectations of countries I've been to, and it's totally different.
Yeah.
There's one I can't say on camera because it's going to put me in trouble. But then when I got down there and experienced the life, experienced the people, I realized it's not
what you expected.
Which meant that I basically do not have any form of expectation, whether high or low. Just go in looking to experience.
Yeah. The only expectation you should have is of yourself. That you're going to be the best you can be, and you're not going to embarrass yourself. So I went there as an explorer. I wanted to explore, I wanted to learn, I wanted to understand, I wanted to know, I wanted to see. So if you're going to go to a place, first of all, just read up. Read up. And if you know people who live there, whether in person or online, just thanks to the internet, you can go on social media and just do your own research. And still, despite all the information that you might or might not get, still keep a minimum expectation or zero expectation. Just go there, be yourself, do the best you can, don't embarrass yourself, and you should be fine.
So how long was the school in London?
So the London School of Journalism is just about 2 years, but I did 3 years because I was studying on my own.
They had a self-study approach.
Yeah. So, I hate classrooms.
Well, that makes the two of us.
But I love what you can get in classrooms.
For me, I appreciate the educational part of it, the knowledge possible.
But so, long story short, if you ask me, I think the educational system in Ghana and across Africa should change. There should be a radical change.
There should be. And I think this can be said for across the world in general because the system which the kind of education we came to meet was built on, times have changed. The world has grown. There wasn't the current schooling system was built on a kind of system that needed a way of schooling.
It was built on a colonial approach where there's a master-servant approach. The teachers the master.
The end results they were looking for people to work in factories, to work in. It wasn't meant for this technological age. So there needs to be changes.
I agree.
As to how the change will be and in what direction is going to be an interesting one. But definitely there needs to be some changes. So that led you to, and I know from your story how VOA gave you the exposure, gave you the opportunity to explore what's out there. And are there any fun experiences you had when you were at VOA?
Oh my gosh, lots and lots. I got to interview Freddie Adu when he was in his prime. For those of you who don't know Freddie Adu, check out the photo out there. I got to interview him when he was in his prime. I got to interview Hugh Masekela, the great South African trumpeter.
Hugh Masekela, one of Africa's most famous musicians, is using his musical talent to support the fight against HIV/AIDS by participating in an international HIV/AIDS conference in Ghana this week. The 3-day event begins tomorrow, November 28th, and ends on Friday, November 30th. It's expected to attract people and institutions in the HIV/AIDS battle across Africa and the world. The conference is being organized by the Wyoming Foundation for Africa, a charitable organization based in Accra. It says the jazz maestro has been appointed to its board of directors because of his interest in their cause. In a phone interview from New York, Hugh Masekela told video reporter Oral Ofori how he became involved with the Wyoming Foundation and what he hopes to achieve.
Well, I only found out about the Wyoming Foundation when they invited me to Ghana to come and see what they were doing, and they invited me to sit on their board and be a director. The reason I wanted to work with them is because in the case of like our difficulties in Africa, usually we get handouts and help from overseas, but we don't have our own initiatives. And the Wyoming Foundation is about Africans battling the HIV/AIDS war at home, as an African initiative and not as something that is done by like people from overseas, because I think until we help ourselves, we'll never go any far. So I like very much that initiative and that outlook, and I agreed to do it, to work with them, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
Right, sir. What exactly is the link between Hugh Masekela and AIDS?
I've lost a lot of friends and relatives and a sibling to AIDS, more than 15 years ago, and I've been involved in AIDS work in South Africa and in AIDS awareness, and I encourage people to take tests. I've been involved in anything, that has to do with like improving the quality of our lives.
In what ways do you hope to use your music as a tool in the fight against AIDS, especially among the youth in Africa?
It's not so much the music, it's the fact that I have a certain amount of influence in certain quarters, and I think that I can help to bring assistance to initiatives and credibility, but mostly assistance to an organization like this that wants to fight AIDS and work with AIDS from Africa, not looking for handouts. So obviously I'll be involved in fundraising and just trying to build the profile of Wyoming so that it can be a credible foundation that can get the right kind of funding to tackle this issue at home, this pandemic from a home front.
What advice do you have for the youth listening to you out there in Africa and all over?
Problems in Africa are the problems of everybody, and to a very great extent, if youth have problems today, it is because the adults are the ones who are lost and who, have put them in the wrong direction. So concerns like these, like AIDS, affects the whole continent, affects everybody. There isn't one family that is not affected by AIDS. So I wouldn't have advice. I don't have magic words. I'm just a community worker. I'm not a sensationalist. I don't make any claims. I just try to work as much as possible to help the African community. And I would be too presumptuous to even think that I could have words of wisdom or advice for youth, or for anybody. I think that the proof is always in the pudding. You lead by example, and if you're a community worker, you have to work hard in the community, but you can. I don't want to use it as a pun, but I can't go around blowing my trumpet about what work I'm doing. But if there's results, then they talk for themselves.
This is African News Tonight on the Voice of America.
I got to interview Mr. Kazidis for the United States of America. Great person. After the VOA, also I got to interview the provost of Howard University. Just a little bit about your Ghanaian background.
Sure. I was born in Accra,
Okay.
So I'm a Ghanaian.
Right.
And my parents are Ghanaian. My mom is from Kita, and my dad was born in a town called Taimbe,
Okay.
not far from Ho.
Is this the Volta region?
Yes, in the Volta region.
Nice.
My dad went to university in England. He went to Liverpool, and so I have an older sister who was born in Liverpool, and then he did his PhD in Australia. And so I have an older brother who was born in Australia, and then they returned home following his.
It's just a long list of exciting individuals that I met and interviewed. I've interviewed and worked with about 4 Ghana ambassadors to the United States of America. I got to interview the Benin ambassador to the United States. My gosh. And when my LLC started and I started doing my human interest TV show for Fairfax Public Access TV. Fairfax Public Access TV is in Fairfax, Virginia. I have been doing a 30-minute human interest show with them for the last 6 years. It's an award-winning human interest TV show. I tell the authentic African stories from the diaspora, and I have the AfricanDream.net, where it's a news website, which you built for me, by the way. You guys take a look at my website, and if you like it, this guy built it for me, and it's just a great, blessing and opportunity for me to be able to, meet and interview some of these great people who have amazing stories, and it's rare to have the cameras turned on me where I become the subject of an interview. I don't know how he got away with that. I guess he took advantage of me because I've known him for over 10 years.
Yes.
And he was like,
Yes.
sit down in your not so well-dressed self and let me interview the heck out of you. So I have this shirt to tell them that it is what it is. Let's get it over with. But
well,
yeah.
Well, one thing I want to find out is, in coming up with the African Dream, what were some of the challenges you had to endure?
So when I started out, it was just myself. I had 4 employees. It was me, my wife, and my 2 kids. My 2 kids were not doing anything. They're now 8 and 9 years old. So the best they were doing was to get in my way and distract me. So, so that was
in other words, to keep you on your toes.
And my wife was like my backbone. She was highly motivational. She was highly encouraging. She saw what I wanted to do, and sometimes I think she felt frustrated because she didn't know how to help because she's a nurse. That's not her area of expertise, but she was very encouraging. She was very motivational, and along the line, I started to grow. I employed this young man in Nigeria, Abib Sadiq, great writer himself. He's one of the senior editors at the AfricanDream.net. And we have people like you helping us with our, IT and graphics and other stuff, and local consulting across Ghana and Africa. And I turn a lot also to offer internship opportunities where I have young students, both in the diaspora and on the continent, coming out to intern with or at the African Dream, where they get the opportunity to learn from some of the things I have been able to learn. So I also in turn get to find out what's new, what's new in the world of studying journalism. What have you been taught that you could teach me to make me better myself in my business, and in turn better other people that I connect with and do stuff with. So the hardest thing for me was getting people to dedicate their time, because I'm not a very big business. I don't have a lot of money. People see me online and they're fooled by the flashy stuff, and they're like, oh, he's getting well paid. Look at all the cool people he's interviewing, and all the cool places that he's going and all the cool things that he's doing. Of course I am getting paid, but I have a wife, I have kids, I have other people to pay. And I'm not at that place where I can kick back, relax, and, say I'm there. I don't want to be at that place. For me, it's if you arrive at a place of comfort and you embrace it, your failure begins right there. Comfort is okay, but don't embrace it.
Don't get stuck there.
Keep evolving. Keep improving yourself. Keep accepting challenges. Go out there to basically do the impossible. Don't be comfortable. comfort is like a dangerous luxury. I say it's a dangerous luxury. So yeah, finding people to dedicate themselves to what I was doing was my biggest hurdle, and I hate driving, so I know it's weird. So I do a lot of public transportation, and I have to carry my equipment with me. But as I started getting people to assist with doing that, it freed a lot of weight, literally, off my back. And also with the advancement in modern technology, where phones are really amazing, and you could get like a wireless microphone and all that, it made things more compact and less bulky for me. But just have a vision, have a purpose. Write it down if you have to, because sometimes we get so carried away with what we want to do, we tend to forget the purpose. So have a purpose, have a vision, write it down if you have to, and don't be afraid to learn from people below you. In the sense, when I say below, no disrespect, but if there is someone who is younger than you or who is less experienced than you, and they have something to share with you, listen to them, because you never know where great ideas might come from. So just be open to ideas, keep an open mind.
It was great having a sit-down chat with you.
In
as much as this is a short conversation, I'm glad you made time for me to come into your home and then have this opportunity to chat with my main man. I think another time we'll need to go back in our chat and figure out exactly how we met online, because that conversation, and I want to use this opportunity to say, it pains me that Google Plus shut down.
Right.
Because
Is he saying that because he had amassed over 1 million followers?
No, I didn't get to that point. But I feel Google Plus gave people an opportunity to connect with real humans in ways that I don't think other social media platforms could do for me. Yeah. Maybe I didn't use those platforms for me, but we met there, and it's been an amazing journey together so far. Yeah. I think our first interaction was in 2012.
Yeah, 2012, and this interview is happening mid-2023. So
that's like 10 years plus.
Yeah. So.
But it's great having you back to visit us, and then
it's always great to be back.
When you're going back, send our greetings to America. Who do we even give our greetings to?
So I'll send your greetings to. I'll send your greetings to an everyday American who is struggling to make sense of life, and who is trying to live their dreams.
Yes,
live
the African dream.
Whatever your dream is, just live it. So for me, the African dream is about having an idea, having a vision, putting in the effort, and making sure you work to make it a reality. But after every dream, you must wake up and put in the work, and the work never ends.
Whatever you dreamt of.
Yes. So if you get too excited about the dream and you stay in bed, I want another dream like this. It's awesome. You end up sleeping the entire night, and you wake up to realize that everyone has passed you.
Yeah.
So good to have a dream, but wake up, put in the work, put in the effort, and know that it's a never-ending story.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, and then we'll keep in touch for more discussions like this.
I look forward to it. So
enjoy the rest of your day.
It's been a pleasure. Have a good one. And follow him on social media.
Yes,
check out his YouTube channel.
And I'm going to put all the ways you can follow Aura on social media in the description as well. So.
Amen. Cool. All right. Good.